Hey everybody, welcome to Love Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be coming to you live from UTD, University of Texas, Dallas, at the NTRP, North Texas Relocation Professionals Spring Conference. And we're kicking it off today with Sarah Ballin.
Oh,
Baller.
I love it. Ballin',
You know what I'm
baller.
saying? Yeah, no, Sarah, thanks so much for being our first guest, opening us up here today.
Thank you, Ben. I'm setting the bar low for everybody else so they look fabulous.
Well, that's how
after.
we do it. This is TV. That's what we do here. We bury the lead a little bit here, you know. But no, all kidding aside, Sarah, it's been really cool to kind of get to know you over the last year-ish on the circuit and stuff. And is this your first NTRP event?
It is, and it's going really well, so I'm glad I came out.
Yeah. What is your overall impression for people out there that maybe haven't attended yet? And by the way, if you're watching, get in the comments, hit that like button. We got Faye Hawksworth coming up here. We've got a whole bunch of people. Sammy, who else is coming up today? Brittany Bogus is coming up. Who? Lil Jon?
That's what I heard.
Who? Rahul Jain from FedEx, yes. Rachel Longo from Baker Tilly, maybe? And Chris Lagerman, yes. Wow. Hit that like button. Get in the comments here. You too, Faye. Yeah, let's have some fun here. Oh, we got some. I know I asked you about a vibe check and everything, but I got to shout out some sponsors here. We've actually got a coffee sponsor, U.S. Bank here. We've also got a crumble cookie sponsor in Alexander's Mobility over there. If anybody else wants to sponsor me or give me stuff, we got some cord management thanks to U.S. Bank. Yeah, but what's the vibe besides all the free swag?
Oh, well, great free swag, very friendly people, and I like that they go hard. So it's a 2-day event. We're only on day one, but we're still thriving. Nobody's struggling yet.
No, well, I'm a little struggling.
I wasn't going to call you out, but yeah.
They all know. People have low expectations here. Best swag you've seen so far?
Oh, I have to say, this is the best swag. Because Faye's looking at me hard in the corner.
The U.S. Bank. Have you ever used one of these squirt bottles?
I'm not planning to. No, I'm just
should we give Faye
cup,
one and see if we
Faye
hit her
can
with
demo for us later. I think she's the expert in these. So, yeah.
I kind of landed it, honestly, for the most part. I didn't know it was straight gin, though. That was an odd twist. Yes, interesting. It's a potpourri. Hey, Rob Zeitz checking in from Wicked Smart, Cambridge, Mass, having serious Nortex Glomo FOMO.
Rob is the funniest person in your comments.
He kills the comments. But did you know Sarah actually is also hilarious?
The jury's out
How
on
did
that
you
one.
How did you get so funny? When did that happen?
I think it's just having, two warped people raising me. It just leaves an imprint, and you adapt to the hardships of life by developing a sense of humor. It's a combination of things.
Yeah, and I've heard that you've done a little improv.
Yeah, I did get into an improv troupe. I think it might have been like a pity invite because I knew some people.
Invite.
Well, it's all about who you know, right? So it's like these people were inclined to let me on stage as maybe a favor. I was the worst one in the troupe.
Yeah, well, a troupe needs all players. So let me ask you, tell me a little bit about what you do in our global mobility ecosystem.
Okay, what do I do? So I work for Bristol Global Mobility, full global RMC. I was behind the scenes, they didn't let me out
BTS.
for a few years because I was...
And now she grabs the camera with the hand gestures.
Did I just hit your laptop?
It's an AI or something.
Oh.
Can you put your hand up next to your face and
this
that
hand?
way the camera can be adjusted?
This hand.
Sammy, yeah, we need to readjust. Oh no, actually, stop, put them down now. Okay, yeah, there we go. Now we get it back here. There we go. Perfect. Sorry, it's AI and it thought it was a moment you were having it.
Oh, it was like, give her the spotlight.
Yeah, give her the spotlight.
Like those old movies where they do that filter where I have no blemishes and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And now she just did it again.
Oh my, well, I'm not going to talk with my hands anymore. They're going right here.
Now we need them back here to undo it. Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
Hands are on the table.
Yeah, put your hands on the car.
I don't think I can
You've
talk
done this
without
before.
them.
Shout out to London. We got Richard Majewski checking in London. Hit that, hey, get in the comments, y'all, and hit that like button. Faye, we need you in the comments here. Go ahead and get in there. There we go. We're liking everything. John Johnson checking in. Ed Milson checking in. Glomo in the house. Very cool. So you were telling us about Bristol and what you do.
Oh yeah, so I was the proposal respondent for almost 3 years. I've had 12 years of doing that in the industry, just
Wow.
RFPs. Yeah, that was the lifestyle. Well, what else do you do with an English degree? You either start this show or you write RFPs.
I think English degrees are way underrated.
I think so. It's critical
Why?
thinking skills. It's, make your point and have people buy into it. I actually think it's really sales on paper if you get an English degree.
Sales on paper.
Yeah, you learn how to make your case, and you can go on to be a lawyer if you've got, good study skills, or you can go on to the relocation business.
I think that's really funny. I think that people think it's like a literature degree, and you're just reading a lot.
Oh, I was. I mean,
Was your more reading focused, or did you have a lot of writing?
it was required that I write a lot, but I didn't always choose to submit the papers that, were due.
Oh, you're like me.
Yeah.
I literally didn't graduate college because I didn't submit my final paper in my final class.
You got that far to just bow
I did.
out?
So I started my college program in 2001. I was supposed to graduate 2005. My degree, when I finally did it, says 2011.
Oh, all right.
It took me 10 years to graduate college.
Hey, that's okay. My nickname was laziest English major ever, so we each have our battle scars.
Nice.
But
now look at us now.
Yeah.
Look
God,
at us.
The people want to be us.
Yes. Hey, Juliana, how you doing? Hey, look at everybody.
I'm afraid to wave.
Well, you should be. It should be slightly scary. Look, we got Faye in the comments here finally.
Oh, she showed up.
Hi
Thanks,
from the
Faye.
mobility. Yeah, thanks so much, Faye. She was busy doing other things. We got Robert Munn checking in. It grows your ability to communicate and think analytically. That's a good point. Faye's got a question here. Faye's asking the tough questions. What session are you guys excited to listen to today?
Is that a question for me?
Yes.
That would require that I became intimate with the agenda, which I did not. I think all the sessions.
Such a cop-out.
I know.
I'll tell you about the one that I went to the entire session. I went to the entire session with the Chamber of Commerce's from around the world. There was the Japan, there was the Sweden, there was all of Europe somehow, which did not encompass the Finland one, which was represented separately, and there was the Indian one. There was 5 commerce chambers there, and they talked about the events that they throw and things like that. I thought there was an opportunity, frankly, to tie it in a little bit more directly with relocation. It was implied and not explicit.
Yes, that's true. I do give you credit. You stood up and you lobbied a question at them at the end. I thought that
I was like,
good.
so what's this got to do with us a little bit? And
politely, you did it. Yeah.
Yes, I did. And I asked them, I said, do you know when people are going to move here?
Great.
And they said no.
They had no idea. But
No
embassies
idea.
might know. So we'll call the embassies.
Which is interesting because I think that is a good point. That immigration and what happens at the embassy and the consulate level, it really is the tip of the spear in mobility. And I feel like while we get very caught up in managing relocation, RMCs and stuff like that, really I think we need to be focusing more on the business immigration space because it gets us upstream and closest to the initiating of the global assignment.
Ben, it's your show. I'm not going to argue with you, and I think that's a great point.
Well, you see how that ends for people on this show.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to most tomorrow, let's say?
Well, I think just connecting with more folks down in this part of the country. I'm a nutmegger, so to come
What is a
down here,
nutmegger?
It's like what you call a Connecticut person, because we're the nutmeg state. I
Is
don't know
that
our
real?
state bird, though. That's
Jillian
real.
Guzda. Can somebody
Google
tag
it right now.
Jillian Guzda
I've met
and
Jillian,
ask her if she supports this nutmegger
Yeah.
state?
Well, it's the nutmeg state, so you're a nutmegger if you live there.
Have you ever had nutmeg tea?
No, I've had so many teas, and I'm actually a tea connoisseur, but never nutmeg.
Can I tell you a really bad story about nutmeg?
Let's go.
We can do whatever we want. So I was in college. We're back in college. And
During the 10-year period, or?
we read on the internet that if you make tea out of nutmegs, it will get you into an altered state.
Yes.
So we ground these nutmegs, we made a tea out of it, nothing happened. Then the next day, none of us could get out of bed.
Oh, really?
Like it was the worst hangover. There was no buzz, all hangover.
So you were like White Lotus. See that episode?
No.
Never mind. We're moving on. I don't want to spoil anything.
Spoiler
for
alert.
people.
Yeah, so don't drink nutmeg tea. That's the gist of that. Richard Majewski says, do international chambers of commerce assume there's going to be international trade in the future?
Oh, somebody's hating on Connecticut? Rob?
Well, I mean, he's a masshole. Let's see here. See what Rob says. Rob says, we call Connecticut people something else in Massachusetts, not fit for a family show.
It's a family show?
Yeah, it is. Well, we say that.
Yeah.
We say that only when people. Daisy says Happy Earth Day. Is it Earth Day today,
Yes,
or was it
is.
yesterday?
No, it's today.
It's today?
That's why I'm in a green suit.
Okay.
No.
If the Earth were ending today, what would you do?
You know what? I'd give you some crystals, Ben.
You'd give me some crystals.
All right, so Ben told me I had to bring him essential oils the last time I was in his comments, but I brought him some crystals instead. Yes, I am. I'm essential oils girl.
Yeah,
I have
okay.
those in my purse too.
Could I have some of that? So
Yeah.
so Union. So this is these are what are these?
Well, people call them crystals, but I think technically they're stones or minerals. I don't know. I'm not a geologist, but they have magical powers, obviously, or I wouldn't carry them in my purse.
Is there chakras? Is that a thing?
Oh yeah, they
Are
can
they
align with
chakras?
your chakras. Like
Oh.
that one is like your root chakra, and like
Should I be smelling these?
no, the essential oils are what you smell.
Okay.
Those are too deep in my purse.
Can
to
I
get
tell
out.
people what these do?
Yeah, you can.
All
I
right.
think one is like strength and one's
Well,
intuition.
don't let
Oh.
me. This is my part, okay? This heals your past to aid in forgiving. So I forgive you.
Thank you.
This releases behaviors and habits that no longer serve your highest good.
Oh.
So I'm gonna stop drinking. Promotes joy and compassion. I love you all.
You're very joyful.
Gives you strength to face your fears and stand in your strength. You know what? Public speaking is people's number one fear.
It
And
is?
we're doing it.
Wow.
Promotes charismatic speech. Don't need that.
No, you don't.
Increases confidence, socialization, and self-esteem. I'm already a 10. Combines love with logic. I think we're doing it. And this is my favorite. Thank you. This is very thoughtful. Encourages freely expressing your passion and sensuality. Thank you very
didn't
much,
know it
Sarah
was
Baller. I'm going to keep these two stones.
Family-friendly
I'm going to keep these
sensuality.
2 stones in my pocket. Thank you very much.
One's egg-shaped. That's, for Easter.
That is nice, actually. That's a very nice stone.
Yeah, I buffed that one myself.
Faye says, don't do it, Ben. Good advice, Faye. The drinking or anyway, the essential oils. Richard says I could use them to swing in a mugger. That must be legal.
I don't know what that refers
The
to.
stones, probably.
Okay.
Yes. Self-defense stones. All right, wonderful. Sarah, I want to ask you, did you have a question for me?
No, that would not be the way the show runs, so go ahead.
I was going to ask you if you had like maybe a final thought for people out there, something to leave people with so that they feel a little bit smarter than when they started the show.
I don't know if we want to rely on me for making people smarter, but
You're all I got.
embrace your fellow man in planet Earth this Earth Day. It's not to make you smarter, just make you more compassionate, like the
Is
stone.
that Longfellow?
For you.
Okay.
So-
I got a question for you actually before we let you go, because we do have a lot of folks waiting on deck here patiently.
Yeah.
What do you think about like a book club?
I think a lot about book clubs, and we were talking on one of your last posts about To Sell is Human. We were going to be
Daniel
reading
Pink,
that.
yes.
And you started it, and I bought it, and that's about as far as I got with that book.
You
But-
bought it and sitting there.
Yeah.
I'm listening to it on Audible.
Oh, are you? I should do that, but I don't really have a commute or any time I would listen. But yeah, I think book clubs for this industry would be kind of interesting. I like to say I'm in the business of betterment with what I do for Bristol, and I feel like if you read some self-help books or things of that genre, it's like easy hacks to getting better. Or you could spend a lot of money on therapy or life coaches, or $10 on a book that gives you some tips. So
Rocks and oils.
Rocks
Daisy
and
has a
oils.
question. What's your favorite essential oil?
it really depends on what I need out of the oil. Like I'm gonna go for peppermint if I need energy
Can
to
I
start
get a
my
little?
day.
Can I get a little? What you got here? I need a little peppermint. I love peppermint.
All right.
All right, I've never had an essential oil before.
What?
Well, I don't know what. What does take it mean? You have to. You drink it?
Here.
Oh, you dab it on your person.
Well, you need to
So
dilute
how do you
it.
do it?
This is already
Is
diluted.
this- okay.
Yeah, you don't want to overdo it. Your skin is your, biggest organ. Don't mess it up, right? So
Especially
just
mine.
put
All right,
this
here.
on
Where?
your
What?
wrist. Put your wrist. Okay.
Put my
nice, nice bracelet.
Thank you.
Family
And now-
bracelet.
I have a family and I have a bracelet. What am I doing with this? It's
Rub it
dripping.
on your
Oh,
it's dripping.
okay.
Sorry, now your watch has an oil stain. You need
No,
a
it's
new
very.
leather
Yeah.
band.
Can I just put it all over my hands? Is it
Yeah.
gonna get on people like when I shake their hands? I'm the mint guy.
Maybe. And we could just sit here.
I like it. I
We
do
could
like
smell
it.
Now you're more awake, and the
I'm
show
very
is
awake. So
energy
much better
just-
now.
Yeah.
Why didn't we start
We
with
can leave
this?
it. We shut
Can I
up.
just smell my hand all day, or is that odd?
Well, when you're off the camera. So like instead of studying for tests
They
in
smell the
college-
same, and I smell them both. Why am I doing that? Okay. Do I put it over here too, or no?
Okay, on your temples.
I'm already a little greasy.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, don't put it in your hair.
This is nice. Thank God for Sarah Ballard. And
I say that every day I wake up.
yes, that's a good affirmation. We should do a show. Like we should do a full-blown episode. We have
I'm
people
waiting
standing by.
for the invite. Yeah.
Okay, she's formally invited. Samara, can we make that happen?
Oh, I'll be at FEM. That's in Dallas.
That is, but we can't do a full-blown because we're gonna do something like this at FEM.
Oh.
Shout out to FEM. It's gonna be May 14th and 15th here at the Warwick.
Warwick?
The
Yeah, same
Hotel
hotel as
Warwick.
last year.
That was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing you there. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll pop
let's-
on then. But
I've
we'll,
seen
you know, you're in Connecticut.
Yeah, not
Do you
bigger.
get here a lot?
I might. I mean, I could make it a habit.
Next
I like
time
this.
you're in Dallas, let's do one live in studio,
Okay. I'm
and
down.
we'll have fun. And we'll have a topic and stuff.
All right, I'll bring the pineapple outfit.
That would be fantastic. The full, like a full blown, like a full. Are
Oh,
you the mascot too?
We won't know until I take off the head.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Jana Eggers says y'all are having too much fun. Miss being with you today. See you Thursday. Yes, Jana, I will. Jana is actually referring to the fact that I haven't done my homework. I'm supposed to be teaching a CRP study class on Thursday, and I haven't prepared. She's expecting 5 to 30 slides from me Thursday morning.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You could get ChatGPT to do them.
Okay, there we go. All right, thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you,
now
Ben.
we know how Sarah wins proposals.
That's why I don't work on them anymore.
All right, take care. Thank you. All right, who's next? Chris Lagerman, everybody. Let's give him a round of applause here. Let's get in the chat here. Let's get in the chat and let's get Chris in here. Bring it in. Let's get awkwardly close. It's good to see you, buddy.
Nice to see you too,
Shake my
Ben.
peppermint hand. All right,
Where's
you
the
want
peppermint
put,
from?
put
Sorry.
that on your person. Where is that? Is that a
good?
good spot? Yeah, it looks good to me. Yeah, it's good to see you, buddy.
Nice to see you too.
How's your NTRP going? Tell me one thing you've learned or taken away.
Well, NTRP does this kind of cool thing where they split the corporates from the suppliers almost.
We like this?
I liked it because I snuck in with the corporate group and yeah, I thought it was
You
I thought it was
infiltrated.
brilliant.
Keep everybody else out.
No, this is my first NTRP, so.
Is it first at all? Would you
Very
like a piece
first.
of crumble cookie?
No, thanks.
Chocolate chip?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I'm good.
That's
I'm
fine. Did you, first NTRP, and you're new to the area.
New to the area, yeah. Just got here about 30 days ago.
What made you relocate? There's a saying I always say, relo don't relo, and here you did.
Relo, in my case, did relo, which I was taken fantastic care of. The organization, CRI, I cannot say enough fantastic things about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a fantastic experience, honestly.
You know why you got relocated?
Why?
Because the exception to the rule, relo don't relo, is moving companies. And CRI has their own moving
Fleet,
component,
yeah.
Select Fleet. And
We do.
that's how, and shout out to, look at Lisa Ross in the comments. Hi, Chris.
Hey,
Hit that
Lisa.
like button, get in the comments, it's a party.
Yeah, our movers who took care of me, I mean, they honestly made the move itself fun. Which
How
I
does
didn't
that
think
even
that was
happen?
possible. I mean, they were just entertaining to be around. They were energetic.
Movers are funny.
Yeah, I mean, this was my first time using professional movers in life.
Isn't that crazy? You have managed, how many moves do you think you've managed in your lifetime? You've overseen, you've
Tens of thousands.
administered.
Yeah, tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
I would, 23 years in the business.
I thought you were about to give us a specific number, like 23,500.
No, nothing like that. But it's been quite a few.
Yeah. And this is the first time you've had professional movers.
Very first time.
Was there anything that was maybe counterintuitive or different from what you thought, or an eye opener for you?
Well, first of all, the virtual survey. We did a virtual survey instead of kind of the old school approach where the person comes with their clipboard and walks through. We did a virtual survey. I had my wife, who, she hears me talk about mobility all the time, but she doesn't necessarily know the ins and outs. So she was the one who did the household goods survey, the estimate process. I thought they made it very self-explanatory for her. And they, believe it or not, were a little under in their estimate.
What did they put you
pretty
at?
close.
What they estimate you at?
Right around 20, and we were a little over 20.
A little over 20?
22.
What was it?
believe it or not.
What do you think made them go over?
I don't know.
Did you have a lot of books?
No, we
A
got
lot of
rid of
leather-bound books?
professional books and equipment.
Did you have like a deep freezer full of venison?
None of that, no.
Did you have an attic full of?
Actually, we did have a couple last-minute furniture purchases that hung out in our
Oh
garage.
snap! There you go. Hey,
So, yes.
hey Stephanie. We got people watching over
Everybody
here.
comes through, watches.
Good times. Sarah misses me
drops.
already. Sarah, I'll always have your rock. Daisy says they're not sending. I don't believe her. This is great. Rob Zeitz checking in. You guys had props. Yeah, that was fun. That's a new one. What do you, now that you've relocated for work, which is the first time you've done that personally, what would be like your biggest recommendation for people that are looking to reload personally, or for someone managing a program maybe?
Discard and donate, I think, is
Huge.
massively important. I would also
Super
say,
underrated. Why? Tell me why.
Well, because I think end of day, you don't need to, you don't need to move everything that you've acquired over however many years. I think it's actually smart to start anew, and the space that you're moving into isn't necessarily going to be equipped to furnish or house.
Was your house like not right? I mean, like you don't have a basement in Texas, right?
Do not have a basement.
Did you have a
so-
basement up in Wisconsin?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's tough.
Yes, and so the
That's like a whole
garage
nother floor of a
becomes,
house.
Massively important from a storage perspective. And then the other thing too is just planning. Planning ahead of time. If you're lucky enough and fortunate enough to have a consultant, listen to their recommendations. Do some peer-to-peer discussions with people who have recently reloaded to the area, especially. I mean, you were a great source of information because
Yeah, I told you should move to my neighborhood, and look where you landed.
unfortunately the real
Literally
estate
like
market,
55 minutes away from my house, but that's
sorry,
fine.
I know. I would have moved next door if there was that opportunity, but I can't afford
It's okay.
your street.
Oh my gosh, get out of here. Pretty sure our houses look the same price.
If I had your money, I'd throw mine away.
I'd burn mine. Let's see, Jack Taylor says, agree with the discard and donate. Huge opportunities for the movers to transport these goods and help facilitate weight control for programs. But Jack, that's how you get paid, Jack. Don't you want a big old heavy bulky shipment? All those gun safes? Yeah. No, I think that's a good one. What about from a real estate standpoint, buying a house out of state in a new place?
You got to make sure you have the best possible real estate agent who can understand your needs, your wants, your desires, and be able to really organize your list of potential homes so that if you are on a house hunting trip, you can maximize that time.
Yeah,
I think
you know
that
what?
is
You know
so
what I
critical.
found though too about real estate agents though is I feel like they have a lot of bias towards like where they live, and I don't know if it's like because what they know, so there's like a confirmation bias, or they live where they like, so they recommend that. Like I don't know what it is, but I've had realtors really steer is like a strong word that I don't want to use because
Yeah.
there's a lot of negative connotation around it, but I mean. I feel like a realtor is very likely to, I'm gonna say steer you towards neighborhoods that they live in, that they sell in a lot, I feel like they get these pockets, these niches.
Right, that's
almost.
true. And I think that's where trust comes into play. That's what I mean by you really have to make sure you trust your agent, because end of day, you don't know the area you're going to be choosing. And you want them to steer you away from any potential mistake, but
Yeah.
more so than anything else, they need to have the ability to really listen and ask kind of probing questions to help not only get you to think, but then to retain ultimately what's going to be a good choice.
Yeah. I got a question for you here, kind of thinking like kind of big picture for this year a little bit, and then we gotta go to our next guest here. But looking at kind of the landscape for this year and what's going on, what is kind of your forecast for the next 6 months or 8 months of the year?
My forecast is a lot of uncertainty. And so you want to be conservative, I think, in your approach as an everyday consumer, because there's so much uncertainty. You don't know what's going to end up taking place from a mortgage rate standpoint, from an overall economic standpoint. So I would recommend that people stay very conservative in their approach. We've got right now, the president arguing with the Fed chair, and that's something
Who he appointed in his first term.
It's just, that's.
Somebody pointed
I
that
don't
out
want
to
to
me.
get too political here, but there's
Go for it.
so much uncertainty that it's probably prudent to hunker down a little bit. That would be my advice.
Yeah, I don't know. That's no fun though.
I know. I'm sorry.
Who wants to hunker? Let's go find the opportunities. Well, everybody's hunkering. You just kind of wander around and like all this unexploited opportunities.
Hunker is probably the worst word I could have used. I think it's more, be
shelter in place.
Shelter in place. Be prudent. Be prudent.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Chris,
thanks for having me,
this is
sir.
awesome.
Appreciate it.
Can't wait to see you day 2. And it's
right.
great having you in DFW.
All right.
Awesome.
It's great to be had.
Give that mic to Brittany. Brittany Bogus is coming up here. Can't wait.
Okay.
Yep. Be gentle with that mic. Get over here, Brittany.
Yes, sir.
Come on. Hang out with me. My good friend Brittany Bogus over here. Brittany, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Yep. Clip that on. Get in where you fit in. There you go. Fabulous. Another phenomenal NTRP event.
It has been. It's been one of the best.
Yeah.
Feedback I'm getting is better content, better than BAM.
Yeah. Wow. Better than BAM. That's high praise.
I've gotten a few people.
Wow. Shots fired at the West Coast. I feel like we got it's like an old school
Texas
it's like a 90s rap battle right here. West Coast versus the South Coast over here.
No, versus Texas.
Texas.
Texas is nobody competes
Nobody,
with Texas.
no, they don't.
What do you think about it?
I think it's fantastic. I've been at a couple events here at UTD, and this is my favorite, I think, so far at UTD. I like it. I like this room, this kind of foyer that we've all hung out in. Has actually been really nice for networking because it's kind of long. The lunch, the food was, which I always talk about first when I think about a conference, was very good. I think that the room is full of great people, a lot of corporate participation.
Yes,
so we thank y'all out there. A really nice, diverse group of suppliers out here, which is fantastic. And then the students bring an energy and a curiosity.
I have already had 2 students I've taken under.
Okay.
One student, she helped with the check-ins, and this girl didn't graduate till 2027, and she was handling the check-in table by herself, and I said, you're mine. And so she was telling me what she wanted to do. She's part of the mobility program. Then another student, he's about to graduate, and he has always wanted to work as a consultant.
Is that Adam?
Yes.
I met Adam.
Yes.
Did you get Adam's number? I need Adam's number.
I do.
You have his number? Samara, we like Adam? We like Adam.
Yes.
All right, Adam.
He wants to work for FTI, though.
Wait, you can't have him.
Okay.
I called dibs. I licked that plate. You can't have him.
Well, okay. We'll see. Game on.
Game on.
No, it is. Curran being here, I got the pleasure of meeting him.
Yes.
And phenomenal. Just a wealth of knowledge and kindness. We've got great suppliers. We've got great people. We've got Love Relo in the house.
Yes. This is fun.
It is, and tomorrow's even supposed to be better. So tomorrow, day 2, is supposed to be better than today.
And tonight I heard a rumor that there is going to be a game show night.
I heard the rumor that I will be winning at
You're going
the
to be
game
winning.
show night.
She's going home with the big trophy, y'all.
Yeah, we don't
We'll see.
play for losing.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's like there's like a Wheel of Fortune element. There's like a Family Feud element. There's like a Price is Right element. So
Yeah.
we're gonna be doing that. There's a little happy hour going on here in a bit. Can't wait. And then once we get a little couple of drinks in us, we're gonna go to this cool game show night thing and
Ben against
grab a little
Brittany.
dinner.
I get Jose and Anita on my team.
You can't have all the smart people.
Okay, I get. We'll flip.
She was about to name a dumb person. I said you can't name like all the smart people.
well, I
She's like,
want
well,
both of them.
I'll take.
No, because I didn't know which one to decide between. So I want
I'm
both
just-
of them.
I'm just-
But it's been against Brittany, and so we'll see who should win that.
Oh my gosh. Farrell Elliott says, careful taking shots at BAM in California.
Well, I've never been to BAM, so I really can't speak. So
BAM is very dynamic. A lot of love for the San Francisco crowd out
I
there.
need to actually go out to BAM. I've heard really, really great things. But
Yeah.
it's amazing how much NTRP has grown. Anna Palm's in there talking about how important these regionals are, like BAM and all of this regionals of ERC, and so
Sure.
really the foundation of the
Yeah.
industry.
What is one thing that you're looking forward to tomorrow?
Well, I'm unfortunately not going to be here tomorrow, but I will tell
Okay.
you, I have to jump on a plane to New York for work. But
Oh,
what I
exciting.
am very excited about is
This sheet makes me want to order like a California roll.
The
Doesn't
sheet-
it look like a sushi
it
order
does.
form?
I
want like a
am-
volcano roll.
That sounds good. The Mobility Success Stories panel.
Okay.
That one's going to be a really, really great one. And then, of course, we're giving out our NTRP scholarship. And so
Oh, that's tomorrow.
that is tomorrow. And for the first time, we had over 100 students.
Hey.
Our NTRP, Zan Jones, and her committee, they reached out to all the local schools. And so we have a lot of great people great students that have relocated. So I'm excited for that. Then the Mobility for Good Awards.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. So it's
Do we
gonna
know
be-
who the nominees are for the Mobility for Good Awards? Trying to see if my team nominated me.
Somebody knows,
But they're not telling.
but I haven't asked.
Is it
or-
too late for Daisy to put my name in the hat or no?
I think so, but you know,
Okay.
y'all should have been on top of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
I would've voted
think
for
I got
you.
You know, thank you. That's nice. Well, maybe next year.
Do you have anybody up next, or do you want to meet my new
No,
student?
I actually have
Oh.
Rahul.
Okay, well, I
Rahul's
wanted you
coming
to
up.
meet
Rahul's cool.
well, then you have to meet my students too.
All right, well, where's your
Talking to Nan.
Oh, okay. Well, let me. Oh, okay. Let me get Rahul because
Yes, I don't know him, so I need
Rahul's
to meet
coming.
him.
Rahul's coming in.
Yeah.
Brittany, it's been a pleasure as always, and I will see you tonight.
Game on.
I will see you tonight on
Vote
the
for
losing
Brittany.
team at the. Oh, take off your mic. There you go.
Raul, it's nice
Yes.
to meet you.
There we go. And give that mic over there. Yes, we got Rahul coming in from FedEx here. Hit that like button. Get in the comments as Rahul figures out the mic sitch. There you go. Come on over, buddy. And Rahul is a former student here at UTD. Is that right, Rahul?
Yeah, that's true. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you on. And Professor Zadorek here, who kind of runs the Global Mobility Club and global business and HR and all that kind of stuff. So Rahul, what did you study here at UTD?
I went for the Masters in Business Analytics program, and it's good that you talk about Professor Zadorek, who was a great help for me. I was actually the president of Society of Sustainable Business that was under his help and supervision.
Did you do the Sustainable Business Case Competition?
We did so during my reign, there was one sustainable business case competition, and we organized that as well, yes.
Yeah, I remember judging one of those competitions. It was
that's
really,
nice.
really, really interesting. And so since you've been at UTD, when did you graduate?
I graduated in August 2024.
Okay, and what have you done since then?
Well, I have been a part of the university as well, but at the same time, since then, I am a senior data scientist at at FedEx. Games 24/7 was my previous organization, but currently, sure.
Senior data
Senior data scientist,
scientist
at FedEx.
at
DataWorks.
FedEx. Wow, and what is FedEx need a senior data scientist for?
Well, I need to take care of everything in terms of how our consumers are perceiving us, and we want to improve consumer behaviors and at the same time consumer satisfaction such that people want to come and ship their products through us.
How are these tariffs that we're hearing so much about affecting FedEx and the way that you need to handle those?
Well, there are a lot of ups and downs that we need to prepare for, and this is a great opportunity for us in certain ways where we need to make sure our supply chains are so robust that we are able to take care of tariffs that comes into the borders of the United States, but at the same time, we are being compliant with everybody on board with the government as well.
Wow, really cool. It's super interesting. What advice would you give to students who are thinking about a career after college?
Well, straightforward, I would say being original and being passionate about what you do, identifying on the first place what you are really passionate about really helps you with your job hunt. Once you have identified that, truly put yourself out there and connect with people that are more and more into your industry, and at the same time, do not forget to apply online.
There you go. I love it. That's great. That's great advice. I know we got a couple people on deck here coming up. Sam, we got our next guest here. Rahul, it was a real pleasure meeting you.
For sure. Thank you so much,
Thank you
sir.
so much, and enjoy. And make sure to take that microphone
Will do.
off here. Here we go. I'll take that. Thanks so much. And Sammy, we're ready. All right. Wonderful. We got another student coming up here. Someone else that's at UTD here. And come here. Here, how are you? Good. There you go. Take this microphone and have a seat. Come on over and maybe hold that close to your face and
Okay.
tell us who you are.
I'm Janani Natarajan. I'm a sophomore here at UTD. I'm a finance major on a pre-law track.
Wow, finance major on a pre-law track. What do you want to do with that degree combination?
That degree combination, ideally, I want to go to law school, pursue my JD and, become a practicing attorney.
Yeah.
But that is, again, that's my ideal hope.
Very cool.
I'm also,
Is anyone in your family a lawyer?
no.
No? Would you be the first lawyer in your family?
Hopefully, I hope.
Yeah, cool. Do you want to do finance law, or are they connected, or what are your thoughts?
They're connected for sure, but my interests are more towards criminal law and tort law. So.
Interesting. And so how do you find yourself here today at this wonderful conference?
I actually signed up to volunteer today, and
Wow.
I've been able to network with so many amazing individuals. So that's how I find myself here.
What is there anything kind of like surprising or eye-opening about this experience for you?
I think, I've talked to a lot of individuals, and I just had a conversation with this amazing attorney, and I think learning about their experiences, how work shapes their life, and what they did to get where they are, I think all of that is very fascinating to me.
Do you remember what company the attorney was from?
I think it's USI Law.
Oh, USI Law.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love USI Law. They're a phenomenal business immigration law firm. Yeah.
That's also a surprising thing, is that so many people are in the immigration field. That's very surprising to me.
Well, it's global mobility, and it's kind of I think the movement of talent worldwide is kind of what keeps this whole global economy
Right.
pumping. You know.
Yeah.
I like to say that if people are the lifeblood of an organization, global mobility is kind of the heart that pumps it along. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, super cool. Has this conference made you consider global mobility as a field you want to kind of be into it at all?
Surprisingly, yes. I was not thinking about it before, but I think after hearing everybody's experiences, and
Yeah,
I think yes.
super cool. And I know that you know our friend Brittany Bogus here.
Yes.
Yeah, we love Brittany.
We love Brittany.
Isn't she wonderful?
Yes, amazing.
Very cool. Are you going to be around tomorrow as well?
Yes. I'm volunteering tomorrow as well.
And I hear that you have single-handedly kind of been holding down the registration desk over there.
Well, no, it was all Brittany. She's amazing.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool. Is there anything you're looking forward to tomorrow?
I think I'm looking forward to hearing more perspectives and, you know, learning more generally.
Let's see, we got the agenda up here, day 2 here. It looks like the student sessions, you have the Women in Business session, student careers, there's the NTRP Scholarship Awards. We've also got the Minis Food Pantry Packet Donation Bag, which
Well,
is
I'm
cool.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. Mobility for Good presentations. There's a mentorship program.
Right.
A lot of focus around kind of students and how to incorporate them. Is that common here at UTD? Is there a lot of focus around bringing students together with industry?
Yes, there's a lot of networking opportunities through, like, you know, so many different clubs, and, you know, it depends on, and there's very specific clubs, and I think that's really amazing, you know, so you can really explore opportunities and what you possibly would want to do in the future.
And are you a member of the Global Mobility Club?
Yes, I am.
What's that like? I think a lot of folks out there who are watching this are kind of like, gosh, you know, I never knew that they taught about this in school, and you know, and if I would have known this industry was out there, and they kind of fell into it accidentally. But you know,
Right.
what's it like being in a student club for Global Mobility?
It's very refreshing, to be honest. You get to see topics that aren't commonly taught in classes. I've taken a couple of business classes for my major, and I think global mobility is just not something that's been taught. It's just not something that, well, I didn't know coming into college that was even a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know coming into college, and I think that learning about it, getting hands-on experience, it's amazing, because now I have another potential career, you know? Like, I have another potential
Yeah.
opportunity to pursue in the future. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, it's really a pleasure to meet you, and I hope to see you around and maybe talk a little bit more about
Yeah,
your
for
career
sure.
aspirations. Thanks so much, Shanani.
Thank you.
And we have our next guest here. Wonderful. All right, we're ready. Let's see. All right, let's go. We got our next guest up here. Look at this. We got Kerwin, the illustrious Kerwin Guillermo. Oh wait, which one is it? I see two. I see y'all point. We got Anupam.
You gotta get 2 for me.
No, we only have one mic, guys. You guys got to pick here, and the screen only fits. There we go. Okay, wonderful. There you go, Kerwin. Hey, Kerwin, it's good to see you, my friend.
Hello, thank you for coming over. UTD, NTRP, another event. WERC, this is amazing. This is an amazing day for our community to come together, and tomorrow we get to celebrate something important, how mobility is applied to do good for humanity. We have never done that as a community, and tomorrow will be the start of many.
Yeah, despite all the good that we have done, and I think it's so cool that we're actually recognizing this. Where did this idea kind of come from? This mobility for good and these awards?
Well, honestly, I stole the idea.
All good ideas are stolen, right?
I took inspiration from CNN heroes during the pandemic years, how they were celebrating, people doing good, practical, simple, everyday things. And then I got to attend a few events and got to know a few organizations. And I've seen a lot of examples, displaced, skilled, talent, refugees, and organizations helping them. I've met with victims of trafficking and how they were trying to ask for help and advocacy because there are things that could have been done very simply to be able to, again, they have truckers, they have people who are doing pack and load. They would have spotted them, but they didn't know how to spot them. So I've met a lot of these organizations. I've heard companies talk about examples during the pandemic. Again, I sat in a session with AstraZeneca, and they spoke about how mobility actually enabled all of the R&D work and the whole mobilization. And I belong to an organization where we had to mobilize people to give Wi-Fi access to those big ships that offered additional bed space for hospital stuff. That's mobility applied to do good. And I think we need, especially during these challenging times for our industry, I think good needs to get a lot more spotlight because that should persevere through the challenging times. So
I love it. And Anupam, how does WERC kind of plug in and support this?
Man, that's a big question. Look, as the globally representative association for this industry, it's WRC's job to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support the education of our community, the sharing of ideas, the sharing of knowledge, there's a lot that's changing in our industry. There's a ton of turmoil in different quarters of our industry. And, as this industry has done many times before, it does best when it comes together and people work on things, especially problems together, to find a path to a brighter future. And so that's where WRC is really applying its energies to bringing the community together, to leading the way in terms of, research and so on, but really making education accessible, including at regional and local levels, and supporting the regions and the regional chapters and being able to do that successfully. So this is a collaboration in that sense. The big initiative that WRC kicked off last year in collaboration with Kerwin, the Talent Mobility Workshop Series, that is going to be over a period of 15 months, 12, 15 months, will have been across 20 different markets throughout the world, helping local communities, corporates in different markets really sort of find their way through the fog, if you will. This is a prime example of that, and it's in my backyard, and so we jumped on the opportunity to basically support NTRP with bringing this to life. So today was a full day of corporate-focused educational programming, and that's Kerwin's doing in collaboration with UTD. So it's a partnership, four-way partnership, if you think about it that way.
It's pretty impressive. And you mentioned some of the challenges and headwinds that are going on kind of globally and economically and things like that. You kind of alluded to some of that. And it's really at the forefront of the minds of a lot of folks that I'm hearing from right now. We talk about tariffs, and we just talk about a lot of the things that are happening right now. How has that impacted the role of global mobility and talent, in your opinion?
Listen, it's a time of massive uncertainty. It's been a few years since we heard this term used appropriately, but we got thrust into a VUCA world, a VUCA world. That is what we're living through right now. There's so much uncertainty, but that uncertainty is not just simple. There's a lot of complexity that is accompanying that uncertainty. And there's ambiguity because we're not getting clear guidance on where things are going to land, whether it's the tariff policy, whether it's the immigration policy, or frankly, it's the interest rate environment. And so those things cause a lot of problems. They cause the problems of resource constraints. They cause the problems of restricting free movement of labor and talent. And they cause the problem of businesses not being able to plan effectively. So where talent mobility comes in, look, in an environment where you can't be dedicating a lot of resources to perhaps be ratcheting up your hiring, you've got to get that much more strategic about who you already have within your company, that you can actually get to the right place at the right time to make that value happen.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of businesses miss that out, that you already have a lot of talent within your company. And if you're not hiring, you need to look that much more carefully inside and figure out if the right people are in the right place at the right time to be creating your business value. That's where mobility is positioned to create that value, and it actually is trying to make that happen. Second is to decipher that complexity, that ambiguity. And so WRC's obviously stood up, powered by volunteers, committees, for example, in the last 2 months, an immigration task force. There's a corporate subcommittee underneath that and an immigration advisor subcommittee that is deciphering every single piece of new policy rhetoric that is coming out and what its impact is on corporations, and sort of empowering corporate mobility people and folks in our industry to take that to corporations and say, okay, here's how we're navigating through this, here's the uncertainty, here's what it means, here's what the likely implication is, and here's what we want to be doing by way of being ready and prepared for it.
Yeah,
so as examples.
Really interesting. Kerwin, how do you see corporations kind of adapting to this?
Well, I'll start with the macro view. Global trade is being disrupted right now. The flow will actually change. And as that changes, companies will have to realign. And that's where I think, as much as the WERC has stood there over the last, 60 years to inspire many generations of mobility leaders, my own personal connection with this is that we need to reach regions, locations that have never been touched, served by WERC in the past, because I think there will be a generation of mobility professionals, mobility leaders who's out there who doesn't know WERC, who doesn't know a lot of these, who doesn't have access to all of these. But that's where a lot of the moves will emanate from, because companies have to diversify supply chain, companies have to change the way they look at global trade flows, and mobility will be crucial in that space.
What are some of those areas that you see, Kerwin?
So I'll raise specific example. So once upon a time, mobility professionals in Bangkok maybe wasn't a destination, wasn't a big deal, because nobody was really co-locating hubs there, business
Right.
doesn't flow. But when we started to see some geopolitical tension in the past couple of years, you've seen companies diversify supply chain away from the traditional players in Northern Asia. Then you start going into places like Southeast Asia, but Singapore is expensive, Malaysia is there, but they have their own set of limitations in terms of immigration. Then you have the emergence of Vietnam as a destination, Bangkok as a destination, a lot of willing, capable individuals, but they don't receive the same access to education about how to do mobility, what's tax equalization, and all the other aspects. And that's where I think we need to be going into if we were to position the next generation of mobility professionals and leaders to be successful. And that's where, again, a trade association like WERC will matter the most, will make the most impact. Again, I've supported many other trade associations, but to my view right now, the WERC is best positioned to be able to do that with the acceleration, with the momentum, with, again, leadership matters and change matters, and Anupam coming on board to lead this organization makes a significant difference. I would not be here if that did not happen.
You make a really good point, and I'm going to ask you, how do we attract the next generation of global mobility leaders and participants into our industry?
Yeah, so great question. Actually, this is an example of that.
Yeah, I think
collaborating with universities, there were students in the room when we were talking and giving the spiel for mobility and the value it creates. Opening their eyes to, there's not been traditional, whether degree programs or even courses on mobility within any curriculum, leave aside HR curriculum, right? And so starting to change that, advocating more actively.
This is great, but how do we scale?
How do you scale that?
Right?
So I'll give you
a
a second example. What is being worked on right now is going to get launched this year is the Work Momentum Mentorship Program.
Okay.
Right? I'll talk about details of that tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, a little teaser.
At NTRP. But yeah, if you want to learn more, you got to come to that and stay tuned on all the things that they're doing. But it is being set up as a highly engaging, highly engaged program that provides simultaneously mentorship for new entrants and next generation folks within our industry, or those that might be interested in coming into our industry, while providing opportunities, growth opportunities for those that have been in our industry for a little while. Because guess what? When you teach somebody else, you actually understand fundamentals much better yourself.
Yes.
And sometimes when you're trying to teach somebody else, you actually start to question, hey, hang on a second, that thing that I just said, does that make sense anymore in this environment we live in?
Yep.
And so mentorship is super important to everybody that's involved, and that's, we've not had a program like that. The last thing I'll say is, this is again a teaser, it is going to be a competition.
Oh.
There's going to be winners.
Oh, I like that. And losers?
And losers. Where there's a winner, there's always a loser. We don't have those participation trophies that we'll be handing out to everybody that's in the program. Of course, you'll get the badge of having gone through the program.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a pretty selective program too this year. It's going to be 100 participants.
Yeah.
And it'll scale out, and the winner is going to get judged at the annual conference in Salt Lake City in October.
Salt Lake City sounds like the Olympics.
Yeah, there you go. Keeping in with the theme.
And to your question, where do we find the next generation of mobility professionals, mobility leaders? I'm hopeful that where we get to reach locations like Dubai, like Delhi, like so many locations that we're going into, Zurich, you don't know a lot of people who emerge from those locations. I'm optimistic in the same way that other people have supported my journey, I've seen other people support other people's journey, that the next global heads will emerge from, again, several of these locations. And one day, again, most fulfilling for me is, again, at some point somebody was was able to pick up some inspiration going through some of our sessions. They don't even know what they're doing is mobility, but they get to do that job every day. And someday I want that person to aspire to be a global head of their program.
Wow.
Yeah, and you've done a phenomenal job, Kerwin, if I may just point out, in bringing young people into your organization and kind of creating a pipeline, an opportunity. Any learnings from that you could share?
Well, a few principles. Number one, I start with what I can control. Instead of expecting change to be driven by somebody else, focus on what you can control, what you can persuade. How can you encourage your ecosystem partners, my suppliers? Can they bring in some of these talent and then put them into our account, and we're okay. And then once you start to build momentum by doing the right thing with conviction, with authenticity, everybody else will follow. Today's there's a lot of proud moments for today. I've met people from our Global Mobility Club officers of prior years. Multiple of them are here. They're doing Big Four stuff. Somebody was setting up a booth for one for immigration providers, and she's doing marketing for them. Full-time job.
Wow.
Right after last year, she was supporting our event here. Now she's doing mobility job. So there's a lot of them, and again, a lot of people to be proud of, and all of you, what you get to do here, Ben, every year, and when you host students in your show, you give them inspiration and you encourage others by doing so. So thank you.
Yeah, well, they're pretty phenomenal talents, honestly. And we just had Hershey on the show a couple weeks ago, kind of plugging the Global Mobility Club, and I offered her a part-time job right afterwards, and she actually started with us last week. So hey, I really appreciate the talent, the introduction of the talent. You know, I think, but I think you're right. You have to engage. You know, you can't expect somebody else to do it for you. You have to get engaged, but you've set the table quite nicely for people.
The other thing, again, we have to go broader and we have to go faster. So when we get to do this in locations like Australia, we get to work with Monash University. They get to support some of our events. I have students from King's College doing event documentation in London. So wherever we can, we try to tap into, again, how do we find the next generation of mobility professionals, offer them just a little bit of encouragement that can make that difference. And that's what, again, we live for. How do we make an impact?
Well, you've made quite an impact.
So the only other thing I'd say is, in order to do an effective job of attracting anybody, whether it's next generation or anybody, is to have a compelling pitch. And our industry needs a compelling pitch.
Yeah.
We've not had a concise, compelling pitch.
That's a great
And
point.
Ben, you just recently joined some committee. You want to talk about that?
I was voluntold to be. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was given the opportunity. I was given the opportunity to kind of join the Value Creation Committee for WERC, and we were tasked. We actually had our first meeting last week, and we were tasked with coming up with, how do we concisely state our value proposition to folks, both the community, but really to our stakeholders internally at organizations, so that they'll invest in global mobility, right? We have to be able to sell it. And I think that you were very astute, I think, in identifying that issue and that gap. And I think we're very well, based on the conversations in that group, that first working meeting, I think we're very well prepared to do it. It's going to draw from some data and some research that's out there, and kind of bringing that together with a bit of wordsmithing and salesmanship. And I think we're going to be able to craft a very concise, maybe 3-line kind of pitch that will really drive home the value prop.
Yeah, there you go. So thank you for your contributions,
Thanks
Ben. Looking forward to that.
Tapping us. And one thing I'll say, and Anupam, I'll give you a lot of credit, and your organization a lot of credit, is you've really done a nice job of kind of galvanizing the community around the association, and kind of bringing people together, and realizing that there's a lot of talent out there in our community, and there's a lot of pent up, energy that wants to be expressed.
Yep.
and volunteer, and I think you recognize that, and I think you've created a lot of conduits to get into the organization and get involved.
Listen,
so thank you
it's
for that.
everything. It's nice words, but it's ultimately it's what the industry is doing and what each one of you is doing. That's what's exciting. That's what I feed off of, and that's basically why we're doing what we're doing. But yeah, I mean that the audience for your 3-sentence pitch is going to be C-level executives, equally as the next generation of students coming out, that could join our industry and infuse some new blood and new
Now,
thought and creativity.
I've
into
been
it.
workshopping some ideas.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
actually
yeah.
going to run
Oh,
by
man,
you
I'm
here,
sure-
okay?
okay, I'm worried about this one.
If talent is the lifeblood of any organization,
Okay.
global mobility is the heart that pumps it.
Ooh, there you go. There you go.
I'm just gonna
Ben.
let that.
All right, all right.
We're gonna work on that.
All right.
Maybe put some data around
Yeah,
it. But
yeah,
we're gonna work.
Put
on
some
that.
data around that.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah. So
He's
anyway,
already come up with his mic drop moment. for
Get
this
in
committee.
I got a stone. I got a chakra stone. Anyway, get in the comments here. Let us know what you think about that. Hit that like button. Show some love out here. I think that's a good place to leave it. Actually, on that moment, that was quite nice, if I do say so. I'm gonna go hang out with Anupam and Kerwin and enjoy some of the final moments and maybe have a little glass of champagne or something. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much, and we will see you next week.